Oh, there you go. Live from Scotland. Nice to be here. Like, it's nice to be on the screen, but it's also nice to be in Scotland, which is where I am, and co-hosting as always, Lochlin and Cross, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. Good to see you. You put out a text last week. We've got some stuff to get to. We're going to talk Leafs. We're going to talk Oilers on the verge. Leafs are on the fucking verge. On the verge. We're going to talk a little bit about Scotland, this beautiful country. No, I know. I'm pumping the brakes.
By the way, thank you for telling me you were in Scotland.
I did. I'm getting to that right now because you tweeted this week. So we got a big show for you today. We're going to be 45 minutes. We won't take up your time. So I'm on vacation. I haven't had a vacation in like fucking 5 years. But you said put out a tweet this week. So I put out a tweet when I got to Scotland of my parents hanging out in front of something old. That's what my parents do, right? They take pictures in front of old things. And we're walking around, we went to Berwick on Tweed, walking around, and I get this panic text from Chris, who's our head of production. He's like, "Did you not tell Lochlin that you were going on vacation to Scotland?"
You didn't?
Yeah, I did. On fucking Friday. I did, last Friday.
No, you didn't.
I said, "I won't be here next week. I'll be in Friday." And you said, "I have to have surgery on my hand on Monday, so that's good." Do you remember that? Did you have surgery on your hand on Monday? Yes or no? Yes, you did. Okay, so there we go. I'm right.
Hold
You're
on.
wrong.
Hold on. What? I said to you on our way out, I said, by the way, I got a note because they literally called me on Friday. They sent me an email and said, "You have an appointment. You're 1:45 at the Royal Alexander Hospital." And she told me she was going to let me know like a week before. Of course, it's 2 days before. And then I said, and I must have been blocking you out if you did say you were going to Scotland. I didn't hear you said, "Oh, that's okay. I'm away as well." But yeah. I didn't hear you say, "I'm in Scotland." I knew you were planning a trip.
Dude, you're the worst
you didn't
listener
say
I've
when.
ever met in my fucking life. Like, we can go over. Yeah, it's totally true. Talk to Deb. Ask your wife. I can sit here and have a conversation with you specifically about what's going on. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't register because you're not
that's
listening.
because I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you to stop talking so that I can start.
That's how I act too. Sometimes I don't even hear what people are saying. It'd be like a 15-minute soliloquy that you give me. I'm like, yeah, that's great. And I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, I can't wait till you shut the fuck up so I can start talking. That's how you are.
Well, okay. So can I tell you a quick story about my my roots with Scotland?
Sure.
So my name is Lochlin.
Very Scottish.
My last name on my mother's side is Hislop.
Yeah.
My grandfather's grandfather came over on a boat from Scotland. And the story was he was in a bar and he was drinking and he got into a fight and he stabbed somebody with a saber. And that somebody happened to be like a royal or something, somebody with more privilege than him. So they told him, you're going to jail. So instead of going to jail, him and his brother got on a fucking boat and came from Scotland, like around Edinburgh, and they came over to North America, and one went one way and one went the other way, I think, or something like that. And they ended up in Saskatchewan, and that's how the Hislop family ended up in Canada. So this is 100 fucking plus years ago. Yeah. So I get named Lochlin. I had this idea in my head that I was Scottish. I told everybody I liked fucking bagpipes, even though I don't really like bagpipes. My whole life, my mom's retiring at the age of 65, which makes me like 40s. Okay. And we're at her retirement party and she hires an Irish couple to do the music. And I'm like, Irish, why not Scottish? We're Scottish. She goes, "Well, actually, we're Irish." And I went, "What?" She goes, "Yeah. Somebody like 25 years ago."
She's 65. You're 45. Ish.
No, I'm almost 50. I'm in my late, because she had me when she was 15, 16. Okay. So then she starts telling a story about how somebody from our family went back and dug up a history about the Hislops, and they're actually from Ireland, and they emigrated. Someone got ran out of Ireland back in the day, drunk, stabbed somebody.
Stabbed some guy with a fucking saber.
And he had to go to Scotland, and then they got run out of Scotland. And I'm like, I look at my sister and I go, did you know we're Irish? And she's like, nope, never heard this story before. And I said to my mom, I said, at some point, you would think that you would tell me that I'm not fucking Scottish. And she goes, well, I don't know why you're so annoyed, because you're probably not German either. The other side of my family's German, same fucking thing. They're all a bunch of Poles. They went from Poland to fucking Germany. And so I went from that one day just before I'm 50, thinking I was Scottish German my whole life, to being Irish Polish, which, by the way, if you take a really strong look at my personality and who I am, I probably align way more with Pole and the Polish and the Irish.
Yeah. Well, the drinking, right? Those are two of the most alcoholic countries of the world, save Russia and Ukraine. So that makes sense. And then
Czech Republic is bad too.
They like to have a couple cocktails in the Czech Republic.
Yeah, too, most men die at the age of 45 from cirrhosis of the liver in the Czech Republic. Is that the number one
cause of death of men over the age of 45?
I think so. Yeah, it's bad in the Czech Republic. But they drink hard booze.
Yeah, they drink liquor like they do here. Like everywhere you go, there's like a whiskey bar. So yesterday we go into Edinburgh, and Scotland's awesome, by the way. It's exactly what you think it is. Here's a couple of pictures. This is us in Sweden. Look at that. Like, how fucking cool is that? Little row houses, little streets. You walk down the street, there's nobody there. And dude, here's the fucking crazy part about Scotland. There's 5 million people here. There's nobody here. Not a soul. Like, they got 2 police officers in the entire city of Glasgow or something like that. Maybe 3. They've got like 8 cops in Edinburgh. No more than that. But 5 million people live in this incredible country. And there's no one outside. There's no one downtown. Like, we went to Edinburgh yesterday, go to the castle. They said it's sold out. I'm like, is it really? He goes, nah, we're just closing early because we don't care. And I'm like, fuck, I love this country. Everything is exactly what you would think it is if you've only ever seen pictures of Scotland. And when you come here, you're like, oh, this is exactly what we see on television. To the point where everybody swears, including the toddlers. Yeah. Like, I heard a little girl, maybe 4 years old. We were on the train coming back from Edinburgh yesterday. She called her mom a cunt. And I'm like, that's fascinating. The word of a lie. She's like, stop it. She's like, you're a cunt. I'm like, was she 3, 4? The kid has got an awesome mouth on her. And all the women here wear rugby pants, and they're way too tight. And I think they wear rugby pants that are supposed to be rugby pants, but they look a lot like leggings because they're so tight. And if I will say that, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the incredible part about women in this country is nobody here has body dysmorphia. Like, not a single person.
They're not.
No,
they flaunt it.
Tons of. Oh, do they flaunt it? Half shirts on people who should never wear half shirts. Like, Canadians are so wrapped up. Like, you come here and you're like, people are just people. They don't give a shit how they're looked at, the perceptions of them. Like, guys walking into the airport with hip waders on and sheep shears in a backpack, and they're walking through the airport because they're taking a domestic flight up to Shetland so they can go shear sheep. Like, it is exactly what you think it is. And everything's so spread out and so far apart that the train system here is brilliant. Like, you get on a train, you can get anywhere you want to go on a train. You can get there within 15, 20 minutes. Traditionally, castles here are incredible. The history here is unbelievable. Like, Edinburgh Castle, just to go back in time, okay?
Yeah.
Is on a thing called Castle Rock, which is on the coast, right? It's looking at France, which is where we're kind of staying on the East Coast. But there's this thing called Castle Rock. So I was so enamored with it. I was doing some reading last night. That fucking castle is like 1,300 years old. And it's massive. And then you look around and you see all the things that they built with no cranes 2, 3, 4, 500, 600, 700 years ago, just by sheer willpower. And you're like, man, these are the toughest sons of bitches I've ever seen in my fucking life. Like, we don't have history, specifically this kind of history, buildings like you have here in Scotland, in Canada. You don't, right? Canada's got like a 110-year-old building in Canada. They're like, ooh, that's a heritage building. 110-year-old building here. They're like, knock that shit down. It's not old enough, right? Yeah. And it's that kind of country. And dude, not only are the people incredibly nice, not only does everybody swear, like, everybody swear. Every single person swears here. It doesn't matter if they're a child, doesn't matter if they're
big drinkers.
Everybody is hammered. all the time. All the time. Guys in the airport, hammered. I was watching Scottish Cops the other day. You've never seen Scottish Cops in your life. You know what the legal limit of alcohol is in Canada? 0.08. You know what it is here? 22. It's almost 4 times our legal limit.
Is it really 2.2?
No, it's 0.22. It's 0.08 in Canada. It's 0.22 here. And what's that? Go ahead.
So 0.08, like I can get there in 2 beer.
Oh yeah.
Most people can't, right?
No.
But 0.22?
Yeah, 0.22 is the legal limit here. And
so that's got to be
arrested. So it's almost 4 times the legal limit. So 4 times is 2.4, right? So it's like
you could have a quick 6, quick 7 and get home and under the legal limit. I need to move to Scotland.
It's unbelievable.
Because they're going to shut my scooter loophole soon. I know it.
Probably. I was watching Cops, and I said to my dad, we're watching it together. You know, it's 9 o'clock at night. We're old, getting ready to go to bed. And he's like, what did they just say 0.22 is the legal limit here? And I'm like, yeah. I did the quick math. I went online. I'm like, yeah, that's like 4 times our legal limit. Like 0.22 in Canada, like the barrier to get arrested or have your car towed here. In Canada, that barrier means you get thrown in jail for 14 days.
Yeah, and if you got caught with that blood alcohol limit, you might lose. I don't know what it is specifically. Some of the DUI crowd might be able to answer on the chat, but I think you can lose your license for a year automatically if you hit a certain point.
Yeah.
Like if you blow a certain point and then you can go down quickly. Like they throw a ton. I've got a couple of buddies that have DUIs, and it's not cheap, man. In Alberta, and I think it might be even worse in Ontario, they will throw the book at you. Like it's severe. And I'm not questioning it.
And they should.
It's a good thing.
And then we're joking around about moving to Scotland so we could have more beer and drive. Totally joking around. But or at least I think you're joking around. I hope you're joking around. But it's an automatic 1-year suspension if you're blowing alcohol or cops think you're intoxicated. Here's Saucy C, which just told us. It's absolutely true. And here's the messed up part. Cannabis is 100% illegal here.
Illegal.
100% illegal. They look at it like cocaine, heroin.
Well, I think there's a bit more of a stigma for drugs as a whole in Europe. Because I remember
UK is really bad when it comes to drugs. Like they don't allow any scheduled drugs. Cannabis is bad, which is ridiculous. Cannabis is bad.
Hungary, Spain.
Kind of weed. Yeah. No, Spain, you're allowed to smoke pot. There's pot shops everywhere in Spain.
Is there? Because when my daughter was there, you still.
Was she in Madrid or Barcelona?
She was in Barcelona. She danced.
Yeah. Barcelona, Catalonia. It's totally okay to smoke pot there.
Okay.
Totally yeah.
Okay.
There.
All right.
I've visited a head shop in Barcelona.
Okay.
Wonderful place. But no, in the UK, it's brutal.
In Hungary, it was because she was dating a kid that was a pot smoker, and there was like they were very worried about getting caught with weed in Hungary, and that's not outside of the norm in some parts of Europe, right? You gotta be careful.
You do, and it depends on where you go. But it's just
it's kind of like the gun laws change from border to border too. Like Americans don't understand why we want to take away their handguns when they come into Canada.
Yeah. What do you mean I can't bring 43 guns into your country?
I had a buddy who worked at the border in Kingston when I was growing up, and I was in a band with him, and they had competitions between the border patrol guards. They like to see who could get the most guns, and I think he was to 6 figures. Like I think he got to like 103 guns in a summer. Like they had like a timeline. That's how many. weapons he confiscated from Americans coming across the border.
Dude, yeah, and that's the thing here. Guns are super illegal like they are in Canada. No one's allowed to have them. But it's one of the most beautiful places you've ever been to. Food.
But I bet you they got a bunch of stabbings.
No, they do. Everybody stabs everybody in the UK because no one's got a gun. They're like, what do you got? Oh, I got a fucking meat cleaver. Let's go out and do some damage. The food here is weird.
Yeah, I haven't heard good things about the food in Scotland.
No, food's good, but depending on where you go, you get different kinds of food. So we went into this place called Farm Fresh. This is black pudding. You know what that is? Pig's blood. There's little cakes of pig's blood. Black pudding. That's what that
I
is.
did know it was blood. I didn't know it was pig's blood.
Jack Maloney's 20 black pudding slices. And they throw caution to the wind. How about 6 Irish jumbo sausages in crispy batter? So those are double battered sausages. Can't be great for you.
No, I don't know if they I don't think they go foot first health first.
No.
Thought process with food. Yeah.
I want to get your thoughts on this too. I'm not going to say the name. I'm just going to bring it up, put it on the screen. And I want your thoughts on this. Keep in mind, we're in a different country. Okay. I am right now in Scotland. No, I'm not going to get canceled for this, but you could cancel me for it, depending on my.
No. Is this going to make me sick?
No.
Is what I was going to say.
No, no, not at all.
Mr. Brains. 6 pork. Okay. All right. I thought that was a cigarette.
No.
Not in Scotland.
No.
So that's a beef patty?
It's a sausage patty. Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I saw that and I had to take a picture because we're such a beklempt society, right? Like we're a group of people who want to tell everybody to stop talking, not to say certain things. But in this case, and I'm going to say the word, and I mean nothing by it, but let me give you the delicacy. This is Mr. Brains, family favorite since 1925, 6 pork faggots. I didn't know.
I did not know that was a term for meat.
I didn't know it was either. And so I looked it up.
That's different.
Sure enough, they are made from meatballs made of minced offcuts, offal mixed with herbs, sometimes breadcrumbs. It's a tradition dish in the U.S. Classic faggots recipe is pork and offal made into a hearty filling and a very cheap food. It's otherwise known as peasant food, and you can serve it with potatoes and peas, generally speaking. But I found that to be very, very
shocking,
shockingly entertaining.
Yeah.
Shockingly entertaining.
Because they smoke,
and that's what they call cigarettes, fags. Yeah. Yeah. You hear it. I heard a guy, dude. I walked out of the airport and he asked if he could bum a fag, and I'm like, nah, I didn't expect to hear that today. And it was walking out of the airport as soon as I got here, and I'm like, that's fascinating. It is what it is.
It's different world. Yeah.
If he said that in Canada, can you imagine if he said that in Canada, or if someone got a video of that? Imagine if I put that on Twitter. Do you know how many people would try to find that guy from Canada? How many woke losers, not the good woke, the bad woke, how many woke losers would try and find that guy and have him canceled for asking me for a cigarette in his native tongue?
Well, that's why, you gotta, when you go someplace, you gotta learn the vernacular and it's different over there. That's all.
Yeah.
They're not any less progressive in Scotland or Ireland or the UK or Europe.
Oh yeah, they're much less progressive over here for sure.
Oh, are they? Okay. I thought there was elements of progression of liberalism.
Dude, there's none of the shit that we face in Canada where people are yelling at each other over words they use or being on the wrong side of history or being in the woke mob or being on the right. There is none of that shit here. Like none of it. These guys are so busy trying to grow potatoes and slaughter pigs and take their fucking sheep to market. And they're so busy just getting to work, trying to earn a living. Nobody talks like that over here. Like there's zero culture war shit over here, which has been incredible, right? Nothing, zero. Twitter over here is incredibly different, even though it's totally broken as well. But these are people that work hard. And that's the other thing. I said to my dad the other day, I was kind of laughing. I'm like, dude, we're such pussies in Canada.
We are
being here for 4 or 5 days. Do you know how hard it is to live here? like the rolling hills and the mountains, just getting to work, everybody's got to walk to a train station to take a train into Edinburgh, into Glasgow to work.
Weather.
Nobody, and it's pissing rain and it's cold, and not one person complains here. Not one person's talking to somebody like they're an idiot. Everybody's happy. Customer service here is unbelievable. We got stopped in a car park. This guy came over. He starts talking to us. He goes, "Oh, let me help you out. I'll walk you over to where you're supposed to be going. I'll take your ticket. I'll help you figure that out. And then you want to go here, and I'll walk you over there." And it was last night when we picked up my sister-in-law at the airport. It was, dude, it's a different world. People need to get the fuck out of Canada and go back to the old land. Seriously.
Well, you know what? I think it's not even about it. It's like anything. It's also like, you talk about it all the time. You kind of, you're on my ass about not reading, or it's just learning about the world that we live in. And you can learn, by going to a bookstore and picking up a book and reading something, but you can also learn by traveling. I've got a couple of travel bugs in my family, and my wife is one of them. And we just have never had the money, and we've just sort of been so hyper focused on raising the kids and doing that kind of stuff. So we've just been a work hard couple. But I have a feeling that once we're done, and if we're still in pretty decent health, I think we're going to be traveling quite a bit.
That's the thing, right? Like, it's such a pain in the ass to travel. And then when you do travel, like, you get out, you go to a different country and you see new things, you get bit. And then you start realizing that we sit in this country and we sit and yell at each other on Twitter, and we live in this cold climate and we don't see anybody, and we think this is the way everybody does shit. It's not the way everybody does shit. Yeah. Canada is full of the biggest complainers on the planet. Maybe the United States is worse, but no one complains here. Nobody complains. They just
That's interesting.
Crack on with it. And you can't tell if anybody has a different ideology here. Church of England is a big deal here, but big deal. Doesn't matter. It's just this common sensibility of the people that live in this country is completely different than the attitudes that we have in an elite, wealthy country like Canada. We're the people who order the fish, they bring it to us, we send it back even though we ordered the fish, right? And then they bring it back to us and we still complain, even though they made it exactly to specification. Over here, they're lucky if they get something to eat, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and all the food is based on that. Like, all the food is peasant food over here. That's what this country is. It was lit, and there's only 5 million people here, and it's a big swath of land. And I can't tell you how fucking beautiful it is here too.
It is interesting when you meet anybody from Scotland. I met a couple of people, and they have a pride in their heritage that is unmatched as well.
Oh yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of that has to do with the battles that they had with the English to keep themselves sovereign, right, over the years. And Ireland too.
We're not big fans of the English up here.
No. And I have heard that they can get quite animated and quite excited about soccer matches as well, right? The old footy.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you. Did you go to St. Andrews?
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Are you golfing St. Andrews?
Tomorrow. Yeah.
How much is that?
Nothing. I have friends.
You have a buddy. Okay. How much is it if like loser Loch shows up?
It's weird. It's like a 2 or 3 year waiting list for a tee time, and then you're gonna have to pay thousands of pounds. You have to stay at St. Andrews, and that's the only way you can play at St. Andrews. But if you live in St. Andrews, this is the cool part. You got a St. Andrews address. For 300 pounds, you pay a yearly membership, and you can play it anytime you want.
Get out of here.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That's how messed up it is over here. Because golf clubs are totally different too. This is, again, let's learn with Dean. I feel like I'm sort of the Anthony Bourdain of people who don't leave their house. So learn with Dean. Golf clubs over here are clubs. They're not businesses, right? So people that belong to the town, their taxes pay for the club, and whoever golfs can join that club and become a member of the club. And the people who are members of that club take care of that club. They don't hire people. It's not a business. Right? Very socialist, but different way of doing things over here, which is kind of fascinating.
I did not. So St. Andrews is owned by the community of St.
Yes, sir.
Get out of here. Is that ever cool?
Yeah.
Huh.
Isn't that fascinating?
I had no idea. I thought you were going to talk about the clubs that you used to hit the ball.
No, golf clubs, like the
And I'm
club
like,
itself.
club? So they actually have a club. Like,
yeah. I want to move away from talking about Scotland for a second because I don't know if you watched that Leaf comeback. Leafs tonight, they could clinch. They're at home, if I'm not mistaken. They're going to get into the second round up 3-1. Or is it 2-3-2?
today's game 5, they're up 3-1. So
They're up 3-1.
they are in Toronto.
They're in Toronto. I didn't know. So the other night I go to bed and I'm checking the score. It's like 4-1 Tampa. It's in the third period, like what, 2-3 minutes into the third period. I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to bed. Because it was late. It was like 4 in the morning here, right? Different time zone. Because right now it's 8:33 my time. What is it? 3:33 your time? So what are we?
1:33 in Edmonton and 3:33 in Toronto. So
so 5 hours late. So no way I could stay up for the game. And I'm like, whatever. It's tied 2-2, right? Go to bed. You bring the series home. I woke up and my phone was on fucking fire, dude. On fire. They scored 3 goals to tie it up in the third. And one.
It was 4-1. It was 4-1 going into the third.
It was 4-1 with 10 minutes left, dude. 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then boom,
they got
boom. Ryan O'Reilly scores
all tips
with a minute left. I know. Did you see that little lazy Austin Matthews tip for his second of the game too to make it 4-3? Fucking
that wasn't a lazy. I mean, listen, I don't like Austin Matthews. I think he's a little punk.
Yeah.
But I was. That was a unbelievable. That was a world-class goal.
That tip in front of the net where he kind of lazed around the back of the net and kind of circled back and pop. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't just do that, right?
No, but I'm dying. Like, it's the only thing I'm pissed off about being here is I'm dying to figure out what the vibe is like in Toronto right now because this is uncharted territory for the past 20 years.
Well,
so far, I mean, we have 3 more games.
You got to win one more, Dean. That's the beautiful
thing. I know, but don't you kind of? I was talking to a buddy of mine about this yesterday because he called me. He's a big Leaf fan, and he's like, "Are you watching this?" And I'm like, "Not really." And he's like, it's 3-1, it's over. I'm like, I mean, like, we hope so. Like, we've never been to this point, 3-1, you're up 3-1, unless you count Montreal a couple of years ago where they motored off.
I was just going to say, unless you count.
So, I mean, there's still a possibility, but the unlikelihood that they come from behind in game 3 to win that game in overtime, they come from behind with 10 minutes left, down 3 goals to win game 4 in overtime, to be up 3-1. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but like this is like, and this is our Stanley Cup. This is the Leafs Stanley Cup. Kevin says Toronto's buzzing right now. Buzzing.
Let me just
round
put this
one, dude. Buzzing because you might get out of round 1. That's how fucking bad it's been for like a fucking quarter of a century.
Well, I think part of we had a guy call up. I made a bet with a guy a couple months back when I started beaking off about the bet I was going to make, because over the last 20 plus years, every time Toronto has made it to the playoffs, they've lost in game 7 in the first round. Like every time. That is mathematically almost impossible. Yeah. Ken lives in Edmonton. He's a big he's a big Toronto Maple Leafs fan, but he's an Oilers fan. And he has a rookie Ryan Nugent Hopkins jersey, and it's on his wall. He's got it framed, everything. And he phoned me up, and when he heard me beacon about making this bet that I was going to make a bet, I put $100 down on Tampa Bay to beat the Leafs in game 7 in the first round this year. And he goes, I'll make you another bet. He goes, I'll tell you what, if that happens, I'll give you this Ryan Nugent Hopkins rookie jersey, and you can auction it off for charity. I'm like, okay, what do we have to do? We do an annual Christmas card every year. We have to wear Leafs jerseys, Grant, Jimmy, and I, in our Christmas card photo shoot. And I'm like, okay, we can do that. So he called today, and I said to him, I said, it's funny I'm hearing from you now after the Leafs are 3-1. You've been pretty quiet up to this point. And he goes, I know. I said, listen, I'm still pretty convinced that your team's going to lose in game 7. And he's like, I don't have any confidence in them winning either. I just wanted to make sure we were still doing the bet. And I'm like, we're still doing the bet, Ken. So I go onto my Bet 365 app, Dean. I did this yesterday, and I checked it after they went up 3-1 because you have a cash out option. And I was curious. I'm like, they got to be offering me, like $10 now. Like, look, they're up 3-1. And at that time, they were offering me a cash payout of $54.02 on my $100 bet. Okay. This morning, after Ken called, I opened it up and I looked at it again. It went up. They are now offering me $61.91. Even Vegas thinks Toronto's going to lose. Every time you start to lose, like if the odds start going down of a team, every time there's the odds of a team going like that in a bet that's not going to come through, they offer you less and less money. Like it just starts to plummet, goes right to the basement. They're trying to get me. They're trying to get me to cash out because they know Tampa Bay is going to come back and they're going to have to pay me $650.
Are you going to cash out? Do it. Dude, you have to cash out at 3-1, at least to hedge your bet. 3-1 is like, if it's 3-2, I'm not doing it. But if it's 3-1, like you're a cheap prick. I would fucking get out if I were you.
I'm pot committed.
Money.
No, I'm sticking in here. Dude, it's happening. Tampa Bay is going to win tonight.
Tomorrow. It's tomorrow. I forgot. I just got told.
Is it tomorrow?
They're like, they get 2 days off between
the schedule's gotten weird. Last night the Oilers won and we have to wait until Saturday for game 6 in Los Angeles. And it's all because of all of the Clippers, the Los Angeles Lakers, and a concert or something. Like the Crypto Center or whatever.
No. Same thing with Atlanta. They got to move a Janet Jackson concert because the Atlanta Hawks are supposed to play at home in the playoffs. And they're like, they told Janet Jackson to move the concert. And they're like, she goes, go fuck yourself. I'm Janet Jackson. You're fucking the Atlanta Hawks. Get out of here. So we're like, okay, well, we'll move the date. So they had to move it the next day.
The Clippers got punted last night. So I don't know if that gives – I should look it up quickly. I wonder if they're moving that Saturday game up.
Saturday game up during the day? And then they'll do the Clippers game at night, Staples Center?
Well, no. The Clippers got punted. They're out now.
Oh, really? Oh, so they're out of the playoffs. So it doesn't really matter. So the Clippers and the Lakers aren't both playing now. So the Lakers lose that series? They lose to Memphis?
No, the Lakers still haven't lost.
Oh, okay. So they're still in that series.
NHL
it's hard to get any of that shit over here. And the Oilers, too, up 3-2. You know, I didn't even get a chance to watch a game, but that last game, I just saw the box score. It was a joke. He just destroyed the Kings. So they're up 3-2 in the series. So listen, my point is this: we don't need to be adversarial. Like you don't have to be adversarial with your betting. You can stop making resentment bets. You can stop trolling Leaf fans. For once in your life, you can be supportive of another team's fan base and say, "Good for you guys."
April 27th.
So moving on.
So Game 5 is tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Let me just look quickly on the Edmonton game.
Game 5 is tomorrow night. Leafs.
Oh yeah, hold on. They just did move the they just moved the Saturday game, so it's now Friday. It was scheduled for Saturday, so that must be because of the Clippers' loss. So Edmonton, Los Angeles will play Game 6 on Friday, April 28th, in Los Angeles. Yeah. I know a bunch of people going down to the game.
Leafs Lightning are tomorrow night in Tampa, not at home. So maybe there's scheduling issues there too. That's fucking.
So wild. They might have had some scheduling. So what? That's actually benefits Toronto because then they'll play the last 2 games in Toronto. Because Tampa Bay is going to win.
Dude, I've never seen this. You fucking don't stop. I haven't seen this before. A 2-3-2. Am I wrong in saying that? Is that Oilers series 2-3-2? I don't think it is. No, it's not.
No, it's.
So why are they playing in Tampa?
Maybe they're in Los Angeles. So they play the first two games.
That's game 6 that they're playing in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah. So they go
they
back.
If they win this game. So if, let's say, the Leafs lose tomorrow and it comes back to Toronto 3-2, both teams had home ice advantage. That doesn't make any sense.
No. What they'll do is they'll play game 6 in Toronto and game 7 in Toronto. So
but they're playing game 6 in LA. Right?
But we're talking about the Oilers. We're not talking about the Oilers. We're talking about the Leafs.
I know.
I'm saying
it's weird that they're playing 3 games in Tampa. That's more of a baseball thing than a hockey thing.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm just saying it probably was a opening round scheduling issue, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Anyway, I'm excited. I'm excited for the Oilers too. I'm not even mad.
When are you home?
May 2nd.
Oh, so you're gonna miss? Oh, you'll miss. You'll miss games. You'll miss game 7 of the Leaf series.
Stop it! Why can't you stop doing that?
I can't.
Like I was actually. Can I stop you for a second? I was actually really happy for the Oilers that they absolutely crushed the Kings in that last game. What was it, 6-2? 6-2.
Yeah.
It was 3-2, and I'm like, and I thought to myself when I looked at the score this morning, I'm like, Lochlin.
But this isn't about.
I'm not done talking. Lochlin and I'll have a nice podcast today. I'll encourage his team. He'll encourage my team, and we'll say good for you, and he'll say good for you. You haven't done that once. I said I was excited to see the Oilers. Did you not watch both Leaf comebacks? Like the miraculous Leaf comeback, which, by the way, is how you break a curse, the same way you had the curse foisted upon you in that Boston series back in 2014. It was the same loss. It was the exact same loss, the exact same score. The curse is over, dude. You couldn't say anything about that. You just had to sit and say, no, I'm going to force money into this betting machine because I just hate the Toronto Maple Leafs and their fan base.
It's not even that. I actually don't even hate the Leafs. And I don't hate Leaf fans. I have no ill will whatsoever. It's just so enjoyable seeing the pain and the level of excitement of Leaf fans. Did you see any of the highlights from the comeback win?
Oh, it was like they won the cup, dude, in the streets. Like, I don't know if you remember when Toronto won the NBA championship back in 2019, where everybody had poured into the streets, right?
Yeah.
Poured into the streets. Guys are pulling plants up, handing them to people, walking around. It's like fucking 1 million people downtown going nuts. That was for an NBA championship.
I know.
We watched them win the 3rd game of their first round series.
Yeah.
And it was the exact same scene. Can you fucking imagine
they showed
if they get out of the first round?
They showed this one highlight of this old dude in the stands.
Yeah. Was he crying?
And he was screaming into his phone. Obviously, he had somebody on FaceTime. He was losing his mind. See, that kind of I get off on that kind of emotion.
Yeah.
And so and then the misery that you guys are hanging on to is just spectacular.
It really is.
Like, it is so difficult to be in a room.
And it's not just like the losing. It's how the losses happen. And the perennial losses.
And that's why nothing else
can
can happen other than Tampa Bay coming back and winning in 7. There's no other script that makes sense for Leaf fans.
And you know what? Here's the crazy part. I love that kind of shit so much. That kind of turmoil and chaos. I'm okay if they lose in 7 again too. I mean, I'd love to see what happens in a city where they haven't been there for so long that they're losing their minds. Like, imagine, dude, you saw what happens when they come back in a game and win game 3 in the first round. Imagine if they won the first round. Fuck that. Imagine if they get to a Stanley Cup final. This city will explode. It'll explode.
Yeah. And you know what? If they get out of this first round outside of this bet, I'll be able to move on, and I'll be cheering for the Leafs. Unfortunately, the Leafs are going to run into the Boston Bruins at some point here. And I don't know. Have you been watching? You haven't been watching a lot of the other series?
No, they're up 3-1. I watched the first 2 games of the series before I left. And
Boston's
really good.
Boston is just rolling through teams.
Yeah.
Boston is going to just dummy everyone. I mean, as much as I'd like to see, I got to admit, I want to see Tampa Bay win because of my bet, but also because one of the funnest days I ever had in my life, and again, this doesn't say a lot about me as a person, and I'm okay with that, and I'm willing to admit it. But I went to a bar for that game 7 between the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs a couple years ago when
I remember that.
The Leafs went up 3-0, and then the Habs came back
3-1
and they won in game 7. They won 4 straight. I was in the bar watching that with half the bar was Leaf fans. This was in Edmonton, and half the bar was Hab fans. And I was crying. I was laughing so hard. The misery.
Oh, dude. And you could feel it coming too. Like that was the Boston, that Montreal series. You could feel it. After Johnny was hurt, you could feel it. They went up and won a couple of games, and it was the same feeling I had after, I think it was Bergeron scored on James Reimer back in 2013, 2014, where it was like, it's inevitable. You know what I mean? Like that feeling you get, that sick feeling when your team's up and you start seeing the other team carry the play, and you're like, oh my God. That's what made those last 2 Leaf wins so fucking incredible.
Dean, that's why I can't cash out my bet.
Okay, I get it.
I have to leave it up.
I respect it because you're cheap and you're willing to waste $100 cash just to troll people, just to be a prick.
It's not even that.
And I know that's exactly what it is. And I fucking kind of dig it.
It's fun. I'm enjoying this. I haven't had this much fun in the playoffs in a lot of years. Yeah,
I think it's the betting too, right? Like you're betting on every single game. You're betting for any. I'm betting on a lot of the games
too.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah. It's fun. It's so much fun, and I'm telling you, it's stressful as fuck. Yeah. Because this Los Angeles Kings. Remember, I said I didn't want the Kings in the first round. That I was hoping for that wild card thing to work out, and I said, fuck. I do not want the Kings. And the way this series is played out, I know the Oilers are up 3-2 and everybody needs to be happy about that. But this series has gone exactly like I expected it to.
Well, dude, there was that one game where Stuart Skinner gets pulled. Jack Campbell, Soupy comes in. He's been garbage all year. He makes some unbelievable saves in the last 2 periods of that game. They come from behind and they win in overtime. So nice little story, right? But again, that narrative that kind of changes about that team, which is really cool. Jack Campbell got to feel really good about himself for a couple of periods. The team got a lift from it. And they did it the hard way, coming from behind. Lose game 1, you lose game 3. You get to game 4, you're coming from behind again. You're down.
You go down 3-1 in any series outside of the Leafs Tampa Bay series, and you're in trouble.
Hey, speaking of trouble, can we talk about Tucker Carlson real quick?
Yeah. I have a theory about Tucker. And
because if people don't follow, Tucker Carlson got fired by Fox News the other day, same day as Don Lemon. So if you're keeping score at home, douchebag right-wing conspiracy douches, they got one, and the woke mob got one. So they're both. So
here's the thing, right? Like, we all know these types of personalities because we work in this business.
Yeah.
Right. So we understand this business. And so this is a little bit of inside baseball. Those types of personalities are generally hard to work with. They're generally difficult personalities behind the scenes. And a guy like Tucker, I think, and a guy like Don Lemon, I don't know what to believe anymore, because you've got so much speculation and so many, the left and the right, they're all trying to paint some picture that they want to fit their narrative, to make this story fit the way they need it to fit in their own heads. So, but there is stories out there that Tucker Carlson was a major cock behind the scenes and very difficult to work with.
Yeah.
And there's also stories that Don Lemon was a difficult human being to work with as well. And none of that surprises me. None of that surprises me. If you talk to anybody that's worked with me, you're gonna get different stories. You're gonna find people.
There may be a few stories out there about me too. I mean, you know,
Yes.
You might hear some guy go, "Hey, I met Dean. I worked with him for like 3 years. He was a total." When I got fired, they were probably like, "Yeah, that cock got fired." And there are a lot of people out there saying that about Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon. But just the idea that it happened on the exact same day, two of the most
fantastic
the pains in the asses in news, right? And I want to deal with Tucker Carlson first because I really believe he's a shit, like just a human.
I think he's a piece of shit.
Oh, huge shit. So I put out an article today because I'm like, I feel a little plucky this morning. We're like 8 hours ahead of you. So I thought, why not? And the title of it was Tucker Carlson fans, Canadian Tucker Carlson fans are the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. And I believe that because I watched the news of his firing on Twitter, right? I land. Yeah. My mom and dad and I are sitting in the airport having an iced tea waiting for my brother. My mom's like, Tucker Carlson has been fired. My dad's like, I hated that son of a bitch.
He's
like,
slimy,
why did you hate him? He's such a slimy pussy. Like he's dude. You know that kid that always wore khakis in like grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, and he always wore khakis in junior high.
And he always had a notebook.
He always had a golf shirt on and a notebook, and his hair was all nice. And his parents picked him up at the same time at school, and they always had the PB&J with the crust cut off. You know, like the guy whose mom gave him a fruit cup, but gave him a silver spoon because the plastic spoon might have some hard edges on it. You might cut yourself when you're eating your fucking fruit cup, like that kind of.
That's Tucker.
That's Tucker Carlson, right? So. One of the things
spend his lunches in the library.
Totally. And the fact that Canadians are actually attracted to this guy, and we're pretty hard people, it fucking blows my mind. And all I saw because
I don't know.
Twitter, right?
Dude, do you know anybody that's a fan of Tucker?
Totally. Dude, I put that tweet out. Tons of people. My buddy Craig, my buddy Pete, another buddy of mine, his name's Scott, one of our sales guys. He's like, Tucker Carlson's great. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, I fired a guy probably about 6 months ago for sending me an email about Tucker Carlson being right about a subject, about Dr. Fauci. You don't know the guy. It was just this back-end guy that we dealt with. So he sent me this email, and he goes, put this in your next post. So I sent him an email back. I go, do you believe this to be true? He go, yeah, you're fucking fired, dude. Get out of our company immediately.
Weird.
Yeah, but the amazing part is somehow, and I get in the United States, like some of the mouth breathers and the religious right and all the cults and all the morons that side with that ideology. Like I get that there are really stupid people in the United States that really hang on every word of this guy because this guy is literally confirming all of their biases with his bullshit, right?
Yeah.
What I don't understand is how any Canadian with a fucking brain or the ability to reason can be upset that an anchor at a station in the United States, a blowhard television station that literally just peddles conspiracy theories, is angry enough, and people were doing this on Twitter yesterday and today, to send emails to the CRTC in Canada to have Tucker Carlson reinstated on an American television station. Those
are you sure?
100%. Those are the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. And if you're one of them, if you're one of those Canadians who thinks that you have a First Amendment right, or if you're one of those Canadians who thinks that Canada should be part of America, and you hang on every word of that fucking loser, you're a way bigger loser. You're useless to Canadian society. And I said, dude, I said that to my buddy Pete 2 weeks ago. We were talking about Tucker Carlson. He's like, did you watch Tucker last night? And I'm sure he texted me because he knows I fucking hate the guy, right? And I'm like, no, I don't watch it. He goes, oh, dude, I got to send you this thing. And I said, Pete, stop sending me this shit. I could care less. You know, I think the guy's full of shit. He goes, oh, I know he's full of shit, but I love what he says because it pisses you guys off. Right.
See, but that's the point that I was going to make. I don't know if he's not on some pedestal. Like he's not he's not somebody that I think is revered because of what he's accomplished in life. I think what we're dealing with is we're dealing with these two factions that are so wildly divided. And if you've picked a camp, if you're putting your flag stick in one camp or the other, then you get excited about somebody that rubs somebody the wrong way, right? And I think that's what we have here. And I think that they even know that they're doing it. And both sides are at fault here, because both sides are unwilling to let go of shit. And that was when we were talking about the Jordan Peterson stuff too. I was always leery about that narrative on the podcasts, because there's a certain segment of the population that's being pushed over there for whatever reason, right? And I think it's more important right now to understand why people are being pushed in whatever directions they're being pushed.
Okay, so here's the question I would have. Let me ask you a question before you continue. Let me just ask you a question, because you're talking about dividing different sides, et cetera, left, right, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe in that anymore. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because I am convinced Canada doesn't have a religious problem. I am convinced Canada doesn't have a hate problem.
I'm with you.
I believe Canada has an IQ issue. I believe that the issue in the United States and the issue in Canada has nothing to do with taking sides. I believe that's a result. We have a dumb issue. The problem that Canada and the rest of the world is suffering through is dumb people are taking their cues from other really dumb people. We don't have a religious issue. That's the manifestation of this stupidity, is that certain people like Tucker Carlson know that they can reach really stupid people with really stupid shit, and they can militarize those really stupid people with that really stupid shit. And that exists on the right and the left. I hate them equally. I am done with the right versus left. People are calling me a Trudeau, cuck, libtard, this, that. I am so much smarter than all of those people.
See, and that's part of the problem.
As everyone else is that doesn't sit in that universe and bake in what they tell them and then get all fucking emotional about it.
But that
doesn't matter to me. No, it's true. No, I know what you're going to say.
You might be honest.
Have that attitude, but those people are stupid. Canada has an IQ issue. We don't have a divisive issue. We don't have a left versus right issue. We have, we have dumb fucking morons on the right and dumb fucking morons on the left, but very few dumb fucking morons in the middle. Did you notice that?
But I'm telling you right now, that's part of the issue. And because what's happening is people are being, because of how they lean one way or the other, right? And because they're being told that they need to do this, they need to act this way, they can't say this, they can't think that, they're being pushed to one side or the other ideologically, right? And they're getting their backs up and they're getting angry when they're told by one side or the other how fucking stupid they are.
Yeah.
So we're not fixing the problem.
Oh, I'm not here to fix the problem.
No, you're not, and I'm not saying I'm not Dean. No, I'm not suggesting you need to. It's actually quite brilliant what you just said. We do. I think you're right. I think we do have an IQ problem, but I think some of these people, what the separation I think a lot of people need to make, so that it's not a gaslighting situation, or it's not a virtue signaling situation. I think some people need to realize the hypocrisy from both ends, and that's what I'd like to uncover.
So who's
Tucker Carlson?
Who's a traditional hypocrite? A dumb
Tucker Carlson is a wild hypocrite.
Yeah.
He is saying things and presenting them as news to an audience that is eating it up because for whatever reason,
too dumb.
Let's say it's true. Let's say it's an IQ problem.
Yep.
But he knows he's doing it. He's doing it deliberately because he's making a lot of money doing it. He found something he's good at. Behind the scenes, he's texting friends and coworkers about how stupid his audience is, how much he hates Trump. So that hypocrisy is what I'd like to uncover, because I think once you get to the sort of the reason why these people are doing it, it might shed some light on. It might actually help everybody heal a little bit, right? Like the same thing with Jordan Peterson. A lot of what he does is on purpose. He's playing this game, and he's doing it very deliberately to gain a following because he's making a living from it, right? And so Tucker Carlson was doing the same thing.
Bingo.
Tucker,
dude, you nailed it. You nailed it like 5 minutes ago when you said, dude, this guy realizes how much money he's making and can make. He's worth like $350 million just for fucking spouting off at the mouth and saying weird shit and being a hero to the stupids. Like, that's what he is.
If I was making that kind of money, I would probably put aside some of my morals.
Totally.
I'm not lying.
Dude, but that's the thing. We live in that time when, especially in the United States, it doesn't happen here in Canada because we neuter our stars before they become too powerful. But Tucker Carlson is more powerful than Fox News, right? Like
the brand is still stronger than Tucker.
Kicking. Like yesterday, I read they lost $987 million in market value since firing Tucker, and then they got the $787 million they got to pay Dominion. And then they've got another 2.7 lined up. They're probably going to have to pay a large portion of that to Smartmatic. So there's that too. But I go back to also what you said. Anytime someone gets fired, you know how it works. It's show business, right? Anytime someone gets fired, the liabilities have to be way more than the juice. Like the juice has to be worth the squeeze to keep someone like that around. And in a lot of cases in broadcasting, it is, right? Like in broadcasting, traditionally, if someone's a big star, if they're not too much of a headache, they got tons of runway. Like you can continue to be a huge asshole. But he became such a massive liability when it came to how he treated employees, the stuff that's going to come out, the $787 million lawsuit that he is attached to. Like his name is on that lawsuit.
Stop
too.
there.
What?
Stop, because that was my theory. Because I've heard bits and pieces about how difficult he was, where he was misogynist. He did that, and people are like, what, some stuff he was doing behind the scenes that led to it. Honestly, I got to be honest, and you know this to be true as well. Rupert Murdoch sat down with his lawyers, and his room full of lawyers went, okay, here's what's going to happen with this Dominion lawsuit. You've got this going against you. You've got this going against you. We could have fought this, and we could have fought that. We could have fought this. But what ended up happening was somebody in that room of lawyers said, these texts from Tucker that are out there now, that are in discovery, that are going to get in front of the jury, we can't suppress them. The public knows about them now. They fuck you. You have to settle right now. And if you don't settle, it's going to cost you this. Okay. So your legal fees are going to be this, and then your payout's going to be this. You need to convince these fucking guys to settle now. And if you don't, it's going to bankrupt the company. So Rupert Murdoch, who is a very, very stubborn, he's a billionaire, doesn't get to that point by being a nice guy, got forced to make a decision based on some asshole that does his nightly news, texting, spouting off on his phone, couldn't keep his mouth shut. He fired him because of those texts and because it cost him.
100%.
Without Tucker Carlson's, to take Tucker Carlson's texts out of it, and I'm no legal expert, he might have gone to trial with that, and he might have fought it, and he might have won. So he lost $786 million in that lawsuit.
787.
787. He it didn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered honestly, I bet if somebody had sat Rupert Murdoch down and said, if you fire Tucker Carlson, we're going to go under, we'll have to close the doors. He would have, I bet you he said, fuck it. I don't care. Fire the dick.
Yeah.
Because he did it himself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing. That 92-year-old bastard drove into work and fired that prick himself.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, it was those text messages and it was that lawsuit.
Yeah,
you're right. That's what it was.
Yeah, and I can't wait to find out what is in those text messages too. The young lady,
they're out there.
Yeah, dude, I know, but there are more, and there are voice messages, and there are phone calls, and there are recordings of meetings with Tucker Carlson going ham and saying some pretty rank shit about the Murdochs and pretty rank shit about people he worked with.
About Trump.
Yeah, about Trump.
How much of a loser he thinks Trump is. You know what I was doing? Like, because we had people sending me notes about Tucker Carlson. So I was taking his text messages and texting them back to the people getting mad at me about my comments about Tucker Carlson. It didn't even matter what they said. I had like 6 or 7 different text messages and I was just sending them. Because that's the hypocrisy. That's the hypocrisy. He's on there talking about how much he loves this guy and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then at the end of the day, he thinks he's a total tool. So he's a complete hypocrite.
And he's using him like everybody else is using him to get paid. That's it. Yeah. I'm just happy it happened. And I'm fucking happy Don Lemon got fired too. That guy was annoying as fuck.
Don, I don't know much about Don, but Don.
Everything was like some kind of woke conspiracy. Like everything. Everything. And he was apparently hated by everybody at work. It's kind of a cool microcosm. Like if you think about Tucker Carlson getting fired and all the lefty losers that are going, yay, Tucker Carlson got fired, right? Everybody's like, yay, good downfall of Tucker Carlson. And then you look at Don Lemon and everybody on the right's like, yay, Don Lemon got fired. But in the end, the reasons they probably got fired because they were huge cocks to work with.
No, that's never. It's always money.
But Don got fired and he didn't get sued for $787 million. He got
Don was costing them some money.
Everybody at Fox was like pure joy. That's what people were saying when Tucker got pure joy because he was such an asshole to work with. So that's the thing.
Hope for that.
Yeah, because you'd be out of the job.
We were in a meeting today, and we may have a new boss. We don't need to get into it on the podcast, but the new boss is sort of feeling us out. So we had a meeting today, and so you'll like this. The first thing that comes up is the wager that we have for the locker room celebrity death pool. I looked at Grant and Jimmy while we're talking about it, and I said, I just love the fact that the first conversation we're having with the new boss is about the locker room celebrity death pool. Anyway, we go on to have a discussion quickly about collecting names of our winners for this contest that we're doing for the hall party. We got a hall party coming up. We got this cover band in town called Rat Poison that's going to do all these 80s covers, and we're going to go to a casino, and we're going to get ripped, snorting drunk, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and I'm looking forward to it, and we're doing this VIP thing, so everyone that qualifies on the locker room gets to do something with the locker room, Grant, Jimmy, and I, before the show at the casino, and I don't know what that means yet. Like, we're trying to figure that out, whether it's gambling or dinner or drinks, whatever. We'll come up with something. But he said, so how are we keeping track of the names? And I said, I think we're keeping track of the names. And Jimmy goes, no, we're not. You said that you didn't want me doing that because I'd fuck it up. And the new boss looks at me and goes, that's really encouraging. And I went, it sounds like something I probably would have said.
Teamwork. He probably loves the teamwork. He's walking into a great team. That's great. You told me I'd fuck it up.
That's really encouraging, Loch. Good for you. You sound like a real motivational employee. That's what he said.
You really lead by example, don't you, Loch?
No, I lead by honesty.
Yeah.
It'll take him some time to get into the world of Jimmy.
Yeah, and your world too, dude. Great to see you today. Thanks
Yeah.
for doing this. Apologize for the delay. I know I told you I would be here. We're done for the week. I'll be back on Tuesday,
Okay.
2nd, and we'll enjoy our time then. But until then, go Oilers, go Leafs. Right?
Okay. So
We can
let me
do
ask
that.
you a question.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a pod on Tuesday when you get back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the next one.
Yeah, that'll be great.
That's a good. That's a great way to sign off. Now I know where. All right.
Great.
I got a heel anyway.
Yeah. How'd that go? You all right? What'd they pull
Good,
out of
yeah.
it? Was it a piece
We can
of
talk. We'll talk about it next week. But I got a really funny doctor story for you. Don't let me forget.
Was it a beer bottle?
I don't know yet. He took the lump out, and then they're gonna do, I don't know, a pathology or something.
Yeah, biopsy.
Yeah. It's not cancer. I know. I've already been told it has nothing to do with that.
Maybe it's calluses from grabbing your hand.
No, there was it anyway. It's
You're
gone now.
left-handed?
I am ambidextrous. I've discovered that I can drink beer with my left hand.
Hey, dude, great to see you. Have a great night.
Right.
And I'll see
Say
you
hi
on
to the
Tuesday.
family for me.
Yeah,
and I want you got to put
They're
some
over here. They're over there. They're making tea right now. It's my brother and my mom.
Hi guys.
There you go. Yeah.
How you doing? Enjoy St. Andrews.
Yeah, we will. We're gonna have a good time. But appreciate you, brother. Go Leafs, go Oilers. And I will chat with you on Tuesday, a week from yesterday. Okay, buddy.
I want pictures on your social media.
Dude, I've been putting them on social media.
I know. I want more.
On one of them where you told me I didn't tell you I was coming here.
I was surprised you were in Scotland.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care, brother.
See you, buddy. Lock and Cross 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. That's it for us. Short podcast. Have a great day, everybody.